Hi Gary, welcome.
Thank you, Anna.
It's nice to have you here. Thank you for agreeing to talk to me. I really do appreciate it. We were having a quick conversation before around, I guess, your vision and your goals and the fact that we never cancel events, which is something that I really do stand by as well. And also, you said that you had a meeting with, the exhibitors here, and really talking about it's not about who's at the event, but how do we connect and what do we do with that. So I really want to hear, your story in general. Why did you start this whole thing, and then also why an exhibition, and sort of just some stories that are coming up for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said prior to us going on camera, I started speaking 33 years ago, and that was great. It took me around the world, and I found a lot of people turn up, listen and hear, but fail to implement. And if you're in business, as I always say, you're in business for one reason: to raise an invoice, to be profitable and viable. The challenge is many people will go and hear a speaker and then fail to implement, fail to do anything. So a few years ago I had an epiphany in 2013, the old what if. What if we could create a space for people to meet, buy, sell, connect? And me and a team could facilitate those connections before, during and after to make sure people were doing things. The afterthought of that was, what if we had an annual event at a stadium like Marvel or one of the big venues where we could get a lot of people to exhibit and lots of attendees? How would we make that work? It was almost rhetorical, yet it was obvious. We need to have good speakers that would bring the crowd in, and then engage the crowd to go and meet every stall. And you kindly mentioned earlier, we set the scene today by starting the day by saying to everyone that was in attendance, we want you to go and meet all stallholders and ask three questions. What is it you do? What sets you apart? And how can we connect? And then come back in an hour and let's do a debrief of who met who. And in fact, one gentleman came up to me and said, wow, I've been to so many expos, but that's the first time. It was an amazing epiphany for me, he said, to understand that you were making people accountable to the connections. And as you and I were talking before, yeah, you could have 10,000 here and people would look at the numbers and go, what a success, and yet meet nobody. Or you can have several hundred people, as we've been able to achieve today, and make some lifetime connections. So primarily that's my objective, is to help people in business meet, buy, sell, connect, collaborate, connect.
That's amazing. I'd love to know, so I'm very passionate about events for business purposes and for marketing and for growth, because I believe, and it's been proven, that events can bring more value than any other marketing channel. And I know that you do run events, and you've run consistent events for the whole time I've known you, which is the last couple of years. I'm sure it's been longer. And I'd love to know, I guess, why you chose events rather than other avenues to be able to connect people, even though I think the word connect probably has something to do with it. But also, I'd love to for you to share your journey in building and growing, because events, many people think of an event, I'm just going to do one, it doesn't work, I'm not going to try again. And I'd love to hear the journey that it's taken in order to be able to, build and grow and get to a point where, we're consistent and successful, and then some of the pitfalls and ups and downs of that space.
Well, I think you said it beautifully at the beginning. Once you've made a commitment to run an event, you never back out, because then people know that you've cancelled and think, well, what if next time you do the same? So we've never done that. We've always run the event and fulfilled it. But primarily the question you asked, which was really valuable, why events? I still believe in the belly to belly. We live in a technology world now, and I'll be 60 soon, so at 60 years of age I've probably been left behind when it comes to IT and understanding Facebook and LinkedIn and social media, which most people are really over and into, which is great. For me still, I like the fact that I can sit or stand or talk with someone like you who's real, and we've got this conversation. So an event gives us the opportunity to have real meaningful discussion, and then if we choose to catch up on social media, that's a bonus. So for me, it's, I guess, the old-fashioned strategy of, I just love to have those connections. But it's becoming challenging. The world's changing, and webinars and this and that, and let's Skype and let's Zoom and let's do this, that and the other. So the days of actually having those meetings seem to be changing. For me, I want to stay committed to the live events. I want to stay committed to bringing people together. That's where the energy and the zeal and the excitement happens. So that's why I do what I do. And fundamentally, although sometimes on immediate you can say, well, I didn't get immediate business, but a lot of the people that have hung out with me have stayed with me for a long time. And in time, they do amazing things. So there are a lot of people in this room today that if you go and speak to, are been around for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years with us. Lucia is an example from Nutrimetics. I've known her for 40 odd years, so it's a long time.
I was actually speaking to Lucia earlier. We were talking about Paul Dunn and B1G1, and
Wow,
she was talking how she met you and Paul Dunn at Swap, which was selling with
Salespeople with a purpose.
Salespeople with a purpose. That's incredible, and that was what, 40 years ago?
Probably not. I met her that. I think that would have been about 33, 34 years ago, yeah.
Isn't it amazing that, the whole business with purpose has been a topical point for so long, and yet it's still just overlooked in day-to-day business. Many business people just either don't know how to do it or just don't even think about it. And I love that that's kind of where it started. And even the whole idea of what you just said with the business marketplace is to really connect and encourage people to make those follow-ups and make those connections and do something from the good juju that they get from the speaker. Yeah.
It's interesting, I met a gentleman 5 weeks ago. He rang me out of the blue. He's here today. And he said, I'm embarrassed to tell you, I didn't even know about your event, but one of my overseas colleagues overseas told me. He said, I'm as embarrassed, I didn't know. But it's amazing the connections you can make, because his name's Max, and he ended up taking 5 stalls with 4 other different businesses. And now he's talking about his connections are far reaching overseas. He's talking about running a bi-monthly, so every 2 months, small mini version of this, and bringing people from India and Indonesia and countries that he's already associated. Now, if I look at that, that's a success story on its own. So if I looked at today, I could say, well, today maybe wasn't exactly what I hoped for, but as a result of putting the event on, I've met other people. So as you know, it's always about looking at the bigger picture rather than the immediacy.
100%. And I just had a chat with another colleague, and she was doing an interview with me about events, and I said, the best thing about events is understanding the purpose of this event for your business and then being able to really maximize it, because what you just mentioned is incredible. Nobody would have known about this just because it's here. People now overseas know that the business marketplace exists. People overseas have contacted people in Australia to let them know that the business marketplace exists and that this is going on. And so I 100% believe that people are very short-sighted when they think about an event. They go, people in the door, people in the room. If there's no people in the room, or there's not enough people in the room, or we haven't given the right type of experience, or the AV's gone, something's gone wrong at the event, which happens because we're all human beings, and we never know. It might just be really raining badly, no one wants to leave the house, you just don't know. But having an event will instantly give you so much more reach. All of those people that said they're interested, all of those leads in the database, all of that, Facebook, social media, video, the people who are speaking on stage, the video of them. There's just so much value in running a single event, and I think people are very short-sighted when it comes to what can be done through running a single event. What do you think?
I think you're right, Anna, and I think ultimately, invariably, people need to talk with someone like you, because the paradigm shift often is changing one's mindset toward the outcome and not seeing the outcome as what might be the bleeding obvious, but what's potentially available. For example, today there's a guy here who owns a Punjab TV station, and his reach is Canada, Australia, USA. And he's already talking about filming and doing some stuff with us, which would open up avenues to other countries. And our vision is, you were talking before about vision, I think before we went on camera, our vision is to go global. And sometimes, we can be short-sighted, myself too, that if I don't see the success on the day, I can lose sight of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is ultimately invariably what we're always looking to go toward.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that we had this conversation. I know that there was a bit of, I think a lot of us feel some form of anxiety and really responsibility to make sure that an event is the best possible it can be. But I really I love what you're doing, and I love what you've done, and there's definitely people here that will 100% get value. So really appreciate you taking the time to talk.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Anna, for sharing with me.